So I get this question a lot from my business clients that are maybe thinking of winding down their LLC or closing it, or just, they're starting to rack up some debt and thinking, well, if this goes south, do all these debts affect my personal credit? And the answer is it might. It really depends on the type of the debt and the circumstances behind, why you're closing the entity, right? So LLCs, the appeal with an LLC is it is this hybrid entity where it provides you limited liability protection that you might get with a corporate structure, but you do have a little more flexibility in operations and certain tax benefits with having an LLC, right? So LLCs can be pass-through entities. There are less formalities under state law. So an LLC can or cannot have an operating agreement. It's recommended it does have one, but it doesn't have to do as much kind of admin as a corporate entity would. So you don't have to do shareholder meetings, you don't have board of directors meetings, you don't have, have to take minutes, don't have to do anything like that with an LLC for the most part. So an LLC, it is a legal person, right? It's an entity created under state law. You've got your own name, you've got your own tax ID number under it, business address. LLCs can enter into contracts, they can buy assets, they can sue people, and they can be sued, right? And so that's your first line of defense as a member is, look, this is the entity that's doing all the business. If there's something that goes wrong, it's on the hook, I should be insulated, right? Now with debts though, it can be tricky if you as the owner have a personal guarantee on the debt. So what an example of that would look like, if you look at a company's balance sheet, they might have accounts payable, right? So you have vendors that you owe money to. Maybe you went down to your bank and you got a business line of credit open. Maybe you got sued, and so now you got to book an accrual for a lawsuit that the LLC has to pay to another party. And then maybe you've got some credit card debt for the LLC. Your personal credit could be impacted if you had to sign a personal guarantee to get that liability open, right? So the most common example where I see this is a closely held business structure. So it's an LLC that's got one owner, two owners, three maybe. It's not a big publicly traded company, okay? So it's a small company, and you decide you want to go to your bank and you open a line of credit or you open a credit card. And during the application process, it is opened under the LLC name and tax ID number, but the bank requires a personal guarantee from one or more of the owners. And this is incredibly commonplace. I don't see any instances now where a closely held company can even open a credit card for their LLC unless the owner provides a personal guarantee. And the banks do that for obvious reasons, right? They want to make sure that you don't just rack up $100,000 worth of credit card debt and then just cut and run and nobody's on the hook for it. So they're going to ask you, for your personal information to identify who you are. So you give them your name, your social security number. But then in that contract, it's going to say that, look, this is the LLC debt, but if you don't pay, we're coming after you personally. And if you sign a contract saying that, they're allowed to do that. So very important to be mindful of what kind of debt you have in the LLC. It's certainly going to impact the creditor's recoverability when it comes to you personally. Read the fine print. Read the fine print on those credit card agreements, on the line of credit you might get from the bank. Very, very important. Okay, thanks.